All right, we are live. Guys, this call is going to be a little different. We like to say investing in crypto is a game, but there are rules to this MFing game. Policies, laws. You got to be able to abide by the rules or change them so that, they kind of work to your situation. So this call, we got Isaac. You guys all know and love Isaac. Isaac lives in DC, and he's really into like policy and those kinds of things. So we're going to try to start doing these calls to give you guys like a peek into like what's going on in the rules of this game. Isaac, how you doing today, man? Isaac just got back from Paris, y'all, so he
Yeah.
might. You got any bread laying around over there?
Any bread
Yeah, isn't it this? Isn't
to
it?
eat?
They have like those little bagel things on every corner down there.
Oh,
I hear.
baguette?
Baguette, yeah.
Yeah, I thought you were using a euphemism for money.
No.
I have any bread laying around? Yeah, man. No, yeah, we had baguettes like every day, actually, now that I think about it. Yeah, dude, that shit's so cheap in Paris. Baguettes and cheese are so cheap. You ever had or yeah, it's called like President's cheese?
No.
In America, I swear, I was told this by Antoinette, my fiance. It goes for like 7.50. Guess what it is in Paris?
$7.50 here
Mm-hmm.
per pound or something.
You get like a little thing of it, like this,
Okay,
for
Paris.
7.50.
If I had to guess, what, a buck?
A buck. It's a buck in Paris. It's insane.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's
So,
man. That I bet the olive oil is really good there too. I hear.
oh, it's phenomenal. Yeah, the olive oil is phenomenal. You can buy little tiny packs of it too, which is
Just
perfect
put it
because we
on
weren't
your
gonna
bread.
finish it all on. Yeah, exactly. You drizzle it on the
Oh,
bread,
that sounds
put some
good.
balsamic vinegar on it, lay some, President's cheese, which is an American brand actually. I found out. I don't know why it's so cheap there, but yeah, it's good stuff. I know, right?
Yeah, everything sounds good right about now. I just finished the 12-day fast yesterday, water fast.
Damn, good for you,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. So, yeah, man. So cool, man. Let's get into it. Our first ever policy call. I love to know, like, people always say regulation is the last boss. In your opinion, like, what different regulations do you see needing to be passed or approved, and how likely are we to get there, and maybe what time frame?
Well, different rate. So I think the big issue right now in crypto is just there's a total lack of any regulation, or at least like regulation clarity. There is competing, I would say, narratives on what regulation should be in crypto. There's a saying that goes around in DC, which is if it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. And the reason why people use this is they use it to basically apply to new technologies and markets that could be applicable to prior regulation. So, like, if we are trying to regulate cryptocurrency and we already have regulation for trading for like commodity and security trading, and somebody says, oh, well, crypto is a whole new thing, it's this whole new thing, we need new regulation for it. Policymakers usually will try and apply existing regulatory models to crypto under the guise that if it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. If crypto is being traded like a security or like a commodity, if it is being over leveraged, if all these aspects that you could apply to security trading can be applied to crypto, then you can probably regulate it the same way. That's essentially how regulators view almost all new technology policy or anything. This is how they view AI. This is how they view self-driving cars. This is how they view basically everything. The last thing that regulators like doing is implementing an entirely new regulatory regime with totally unique rules. They'll try and avoid that as much as possible. As much as they can, they will try to put existing frameworks on crypto. And currently, an existing framework that is being attempted to be hoisted on specifically like crypto exchanges is the Commodities and Exchange Act. And this is something that has been really taken under by Elizabeth Warren. And she has a recent bill that I've actually, full disclaimer, haven't looked into too heavily, but if it's anything like what she has been previously trying to do, it's probably something to the degree of a digital commodities and exchange act, where she's basically going to be applying know your customer rules and regulations to crypto exchanges. And like, let's put some background on this. Like, what is a know your customer rule, right?
Centralized exchanges or decentralized exchanges or both?
Everything.
Okay.
Everything. And that's the kicker, right? That's the big, because you can easily apply, know your customer regulations to, maybe not easily, but you could maybe more easily to like a centralized exchange. But a decentralized exchange, you can't do this. And I guess let me give it some background. So back in the early 1900s, for the first time ever, this new advancement hit the American marketplace, and it was commodity exchange trading. People could, for the first time ever, take grain and gold and all these different commodities and trade on their derivatives. Trade on their futures. So you could make bets on the future value of grain on an exchange market. You can buy derivatives of these assets and then bet on them. Now, the issue with this is that because there was no regulation in this sphere, it led to a economic scamming mechanism known as wash trading, where basically a actor would set up two different anonymous bids. Okay, nobody knows who these people are, and they would essentially buy their own assets. They would make bids on their own assets and sell to themselves, okay, using two anonymous bids. And this action would then change the price of the asset that they were trading with. So if they start taking, making bids for some sort of, grains or whatever at a much higher price than the market average, they can then move the price. They can do this essentially infinite times because they're just moving money from themselves to themselves. So they could do this like in loop without losing anything, maybe on like fees or something very minor. So this is called wash trading because it's a form of price manipulation. And people would do this in order to artificially jack up the price and then short it when it eventually comes down to a more natural equilibrium, or vice versa, right? Like, they would drain the price and then, long it. So this sort of action is ubiquitous in crypto exchanges currently. I saw a study, and I wrote a paper on this, but there was a study that showed, what was it? It was like some like obnoxiously high number of transactions on crypto exchanges are wash trading. It's something like half.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not small, and it's because it's very easy to do. You can do this very easily through anonymous, bids and stuff. Like, it's very easy to buy from yourself. I know that there are some protocols that set up mechanisms for like trying to prevent this, but it's not widespread and it's pretty easy to get around. Now, wash trading was kind of the impetus behind the original the original just normal commodities exchange act. Elizabeth Warren, who would like to set up these know your customer rules that would make it virtually impossible to have anonymous, transacting with crypto, she's using more of like like this is being used for terrorism sort of thing. So she's using kind of a national security standpoint. But historically, wash trading has been the more real and prescient argument for why you want to implement know your customer regulations, not really terrorism or the funding of terrorism, because it's a relatively minor amount of crypto is actually sent to some sort of like terrorist body, but a lot of it is used for wash trading.
Interesting. So she's trying to pass this bill to where like there's KYC on sexes and dexes. I think she's going more after the dexes because, I run a hedge fund. I even on my institutional accounts and on my personal accounts, I had to do KYC on all of them: Kraken, Gemini, KuCoin,
Yep.
Coinbase. So I feel like that's already a thing. So
Well,
like he's really targeting the dexes. I love to know why you're saying well, and I like to know your thoughts on like, what do you think the likelihood of this getting passed? Do you think they're going to let dexes just continue to be like how they are, where it's no KYC?
so I would agree that dexes are kind of just like a no-go under this framework, like I don't really see how a DEX could remain KYC compliant, because by its nature, it's like anti KYC. Like it is the antithesis of KYC. It's all about anonymity or pseudo anonymity. Now a SEX, I hate that name. A centralized exchange. It's a dirty name.
It
A
is.
centralized exchange is obviously able to be KYC compliant. Like there is the ability for it to be such. The issue is that very few are. It's very easy just through setting up a VPN to skirt over almost any centralized exchange's KYC, like mechanisms. Like almost it's basically like non-existent. Like if you have a VPN, it'll ask you, oh, are you, you can't do this because it looks like you're in the United States. Set up a VPN, change it to wherever, Belgium or whatever, then you're fine. You're totally fine. They might like have you take a picture of your, ID or something like that. I've seen some, exchanges have stuff like that, but it's not the norm, I would say. It still is pretty easy for people to skirt over a lot of the KYC protocols. And I think what Elizabeth Warren would like to see is far more stringent KYC protocols being implemented by centralized exchanges. So this means they all use ID verification. They would all use some sort of, there's like multiple ways of being able to break people's, like geometric sensors. Like, so if you have some sort of geolocation censoring tool, like a VPN, there are tools that a website can use in order to track your actual location. This can be things like they can look at the Wi-Fi that you're using and then find the location of that Wi-Fi to verify your location. So if you use a VPN that says, oh, I'm somewhere else, but you're on a Wi-Fi that says you're in the United States, boom, they just, found out that you are lying, and then they can block you. There's multiple other geolocation tools that you can use to do this as well. But yeah, essentially the administration, like Elizabeth Warren, would want this to be legal requirements instead of what it is right now. Just like it's like a suggestion. You might get in trouble, but there's not a lot of I guess like top-down implementation.
Man, that's good shit, by the way. Do you think she genuinely dislikes crypto, or do you just think she's financially incentivized through the people she represents to seem like she does?
I don't know who her donors are. I could look into that, and then we could do a separate call on who her donors are. I have no idea who they are though, so I can't make an assertion on what her motivation is. As far as I can tell, she seems to have a genuine concern about crypto's use by like non-state actors and by rogue states. So she doesn't like that crypto, and it's true, has been used by like Iranian nationals. And there was a big scandal where I think a few dozen Iranian nationals had been using Binance. And despite Binance's KYC protocols, it didn't effectively stop them. And I think Elizabeth Warren does have a genuine concern about things like that occurring.
I wonder why she doesn't look at the good side though, because it's just like, when the whole thing with Ukraine happened, like that was the only way we can send money to people to help them. Like everything's good and bad. So it's like, I feel like when people focus on the bad and ignore the good, because crypto has a lot of good, like they talk about is used for money laundering when it's on the blockchain. Like a lot of people don't know, like one of the largest sex trafficking organizations was caught because they thought they were really smart using Bitcoin, when you can see everything. And there's so many like companies that are like tracking wallets and such and being able to connect them to the owners. Like it's really hard to be like unseen unless you're like running your own node. So it's like when I look at it from that standpoint, and most of the money laundering and all that stuff is happening actually through cash, right? It just
That's true. That's why we'll ban that too.
Yeah, it makes me think that it just seems like they don't want to lose control. When if they do this correctly, the United States, crypto can actually help them increase their world dominance through like stable coins and different things.
I disagree.
What do you think?
I think that cryptocurrency is an existential threat to the dominance of the dollar. I think it totally is. I think that the United States is actually acting rationally when they go after cryptocurrency. If you're looking at it from a purely self-serving standpoint, I mean, like you could make the case that like, yeah, like a stable currency is like the dollarization of crypto, kind of like with Argentina, right? Like we've dollarized crypto with stable currencies. Isn't that adding demand for the dollar? And if you believe, Tether, that they actually have the same number of dollars for every crypto dollar that they produce, then yeah, that would be adding demand for the dollar. I think though that a lot of people in the State Department probably look beyond that though, and they see like even if they're adding demand for the dollar, they're working through institutions that are outside of the United States' sphere of control. The United States wields a lot of power in the fact that they can basically shut down like anybody's assets and seize anybody's assets in the entire world because they're almost always going through US state institutions at some point. This is why we can seize assets from Russian oligarchs like that, very easily. It's because we have the institutional power to do so. But if we move everything into these like private crypto, exchanges and stuff, and they're all, they're located in the Bahamas or in Singapore and something. I mean, that's essentially moving control from American institutions to, non-American institutions. And that's an issue. Even if they use dollars, like that's an issue. So I don't know, like I see where the like state realists are coming from in their dislike of cryptocurrency. And yeah, so I don't know. Like I see where they're coming from. I fundamentally am pro crypto, because I'm not a member of the State Department. So like I think crypto is great. But it is true that, North Korea 100% uses Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies in order to fund themselves. And some of the biggest hacks, what do they call those? Ransomware hacks? Mm-hmm. Some of the biggest ransomware hacks have been from North Korean state hackers. North Korea, and you can look this up, North Korea has a group of state-funded and trained hackers that conduct ransomware attacks, then take money in Bitcoin usually, and then move the money through what's called, I was going to say wash trading again, but that's a very similar, tumblers.
The mixers.
Yeah, tumblers and mixers, which then basically
that just went down like 6 months to a year ago. Tornado Cash.
Oh yeah, Tornado Cash. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Tornado Cash. That's a good example. Yeah. So and this is just, and it's true. It's true. Like that's just what happens. We're in crypto. We like to talk about the good things because we have an incentive to talk about the good things because we got our bag in crypto being successful. When it's successful, we're successful. But we should also never shy away from the fact that the things that Elizabeth Warren talks about do have some truth. Like, she might, mask it. We can talk about who funds her. We can talk about, bad interest, yada, yada. But there is some truth. She wouldn't be as successful as she is. She hasn't been very successful right now, but, she wouldn't be potentially as successful as she is with getting these things passed and have as many people listening to her within the government if she didn't have some truth to it. The government wouldn't hate crypto if crypto wasn't in some degree being used by, bad state actors, right? So
yeah, no, I feel that. I think, like I was saying, nothing's all good, nothing's all bad. But I personally think, like, for the dollar for the United States, I think the good outweighs the bad simply because USDC, which it seems like that could be the CBDC, you never know. They're the compliant stablecoin. They can blacklist addresses. So if other countries want to get access to USDC, they can have them go through different KYC. And now the United States have data on global participants. And that's one thing. The second thing is, from a supply and demand standpoint, I feel like it can help us increase our global reserve currency status. If we do things like getting treasuries on the blockchain and getting allowing people who have super hyperinflated currencies, like people in Argentina and Africa, to get access to stable coins, and then they can use those stable coins as collateral to borrow. If treasuries are on the blockchain, they can use treasury, which is the dominant form of collateral in the world. But it's like China owns a lot of, or most of our treasuries. I think China and Japan. But you can't just be like an average person and get access to treasuries. So if treasuries are on the blockchain, you make people go through KYC, and now they can use those treasuries as collateral. Now, as more people holding our debt, and it just makes the dollar more sticky, in my opinion, and it helps them be able to track everything. So in my view, current view, and obviously I'm learning more every day, so hey, there's a chance that I'm wrong. It seems like it can make the dollar more sticky. But
I think that what is going to be implemented in these CBDC systems, because essentially what the government wants to do is implement some sort of like CBDC. Obviously, I think that we could see something where a private entity, private banking conglomerate issues a private CBDC. So it won't be like a CBDC, but it'll be like a government approved US dollar derivative cryptocurrency, right? And it's approved. It's like, we get the blessing of the federal government, and it's allowed to be exchanged, held by major banks. We're going to start to see it implemented into, banks will have you can go to your app and you can, like when you click to pay, you can click to pay with crypto, stuff like that. Like I could see that become a thing, but I think what the government really wants is like a CBDC. And when you do a CBDC, there are really two main methods to it. And it's essentially like you either do an account-based CBDC or a token-based CBDC. And the difference has to do with what aspect of the CBDC is being like tracked and is in the exchange. Like, are you exchanging tokens where the token is the thing being tracked? Or are you exchanging using accounts where the accounts are the thing being tracked? And the accounts are the node around which, everything kind of revolves around. Doing token-based CBDCs would make it so that you can still run pseudonymous accounts. And for security reasons, the government does not like the idea of pseudonymous transactions. They would much prefer an account-based system that wouldn't allow for pseudo-anonymity. They would like it to not allow for that, and instead basically implement like a KYC system if you want to transact using CBDCs. That's what they would like. They would like KYC for transacting with CBDCs. If you read what the Biden administration issued regarding digital currencies, this is essentially what they said. They said that, and if you read that, they had a white paper also on like what they would do, how they would make a CBDC, and it would essentially be an account-based wholesale, meaning selling to banks, and then banks are the ones that then give it to consumers. So it'd be wholesale, account-based, pretty high level, not something that you would be dealing with, and not something that you'd be dealing with in the way that we deal with crypto, where it's all tokenized. They don't like tokenized as of yet. That could change. I would like it to change. And there are ideas of doing what are called like democratic CBDCs. And a democratic CBDC would essentially be a dollar, like, physical currency dollar, like CBDC, where it allows for anonymity, it allows for tokenization, all these different things. I don't know if we're going to implement something like that, but we'll see. That'd be the best case scenario, is implementing some sort of pro-democracy thing, whatever, as long as it allows for tokenization, anonymity, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I feel like whatever version of CBDC it is or ends up being, it's going to be something that seems like is good for us. So there's definitely going to be some perks because they don't want people to just hate it. But I do feel like the whole underlying point of it is so that they can have control and be able to better regulate the economy, doing things like, hey, I've dropped this money in your account. You have this so much time to spend it. If you don't spend it, it's gone.
Bro, that's what China does.
control the velocity of money. But I feel like the US would do it like in a more friendly way. Yeah, man, because this is stuff is just getting more and more digital. The desire to control is not decreasing by any means, especially in this current time where it's like shit's kind of effed up. So I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
We'll see. We'll keep you in the loop.
Well, guys, if you like this kind of content, we ask that you consider subscribing. Also, if you want to book a call and get access to our course where we teach you how to yield for our trade options, just turn you into an investment professional. Think of this as like a CFA level course, chartered financial analyst kind of course, curriculum. There's coaching. Click the Calendly link, book a free strategy session. We'll talk to you, get a good idea of your goals, see if this is a good fit for you. And also let us know what you guys think of these kind of videos. We're going to try to start doing these on a bi-weekly basis. So with that, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Take care.